Amber, I feel like people on the right have a very difficult time addressing issues on race. And I don't feel like it's because they're racist. I feel like they've allowed the media to beat them down so much and do that you're racist, you're racist, you're racist thing so much that now they're afraid to ever address it. I mean, I obviously address it, but that's because I don't have any feelings or any soul whatsoever. Others on our side are scared to do it, or they try to out SJW the left, and honestly, it makes me want to vomit.
I can't stand the pandering. And, this was exactly the media's goal when they did this to people. They did this intentionally to shut up anyone who had a dissenting opinion, because the media has a vested interest, Jesse, in sowing racial division in this country. The more time that people spend focused on hating their neighbor, the less time the media's constant lies to the American people, as well as the lies of politicians, are examined by people. So this is basically a distraction. They're trying to, one, sew up a division for ratings, and two, it's because they want to keep their own power. And they can only do that by making sure that the common enemy is not the media.
Amber, give Trump a letter grade throughout this. Not the coronavirus thing, just since the George Floyd thing and all the massive madness. Give Trump a letter grade.
I give him a C, and I'll explain why. First of all, I thought he waited way too long to offer to deploy the National Guard and the military to places that were experiencing riots. I thought he should have given a national address way sooner than he did. He waited until after a full weekend of utter destruction of multiple American cities. And now, even after, sympathizing with the protesters while denouncing the riots, he's sending people like Jared Kushner and Jerron Smith to Capitol Hill to hammer out this bill on federal law enforcement reform that includes things like getting rid of police unions or stripping qualified immunity. This is basically just letting the liberals run amok with their attempts to cancel the police. This is not about reform. This is about eventually changing the system to a point where police are neutered to where they don't even get to exercise the same type of power they have now in order to properly keep people safe.
Tell me why I shouldn't start a third party at this point. And hear me out. I'm not one of these third party guys, but I am so sick to death of the GOP offering a watered down version of something the Democrats already did instead of changing the narrative, changing the game. Do we have nobody in this country with the balls to stand up behind a microphone and say, it's not the fault of the cops. We're focusing on the wrong issue and we're not going to pass a sweeping, idiotic federal law anyway. I am so sick of this crap. I'm about to blow a gasket.
And this type of perception, Jesse, is shared by a lot of people. And this is one of the issues that Trump is going to have when it comes to his reelection coming up here in November, because he has in many ways taken advantage of his base, taken them for granted, and not stood up for them. He was supposed to be the big fighter that was not going to put up with this nonsense. And when people see him repeatedly allowing his son-in-law and these other more liberal advisors to sell out some of his policy agenda and refuse to stand up and fight for the things that his base wanted him to, that's going to be a serious problem. And you already see that in the polls. He's losing support among the evangelical base as well as people without college degrees. And those were the key supporters of his in 2016. So he needs to really take a good look at himself and his administration and figure out where the problem is and root it out.
Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.